Hi there, Bridget Mackay at the law offices of Bridget Mackay here in Petaluma, California. We practice in the area of estate planning, elder law, and trust administration. I want to talk to you about some of the barriers folks find to creating an estate plan, more specifically a trust. The third emotional block is meeting with a lawyer. I mean, I get it. We're scary people. And not only that, really it comes down to being afraid that you can't express what you need to express about your finances, your family relationships, and your needs in your estate plan. I've talked to many clients who, when we're done with a session, give me their assumptions that they had before they meet with me, which is, we thought you weren't going to talk about these things. We thought that some of the concerns we had were not going to be brought up. And even more so, we didn't realize there were things we need to look at that were more intimate and difficult to talk about until you brought it up. But exposing all those things to the light helps. How do you get around that? The best way to find an attorney that's really going to jive with you is to ask around, ask your friends, your families for a referral, people they've used, people they didn't like, so you know not to use. That is the best way to choose someone who may fit with you. The other thing around that is you're in control here. So if you do meet with this person and your first impression is not good, or even partway through the relationship you are frustrated, you can stop the representation because you are the client. The fourth emotional block is cost. And actually this one comes up quite a bit for us too. People want to approach doing this kind of planning on the cheap. They just want to check that box and get it done. And the truth is if you do it on the cheap and you're not thorough about this process, then your documents are going to reflect that and your plan is going to reflect that. And you are more likely at risk to end up with conflict in your family and potentially in court. So don't be afraid to ask how much an attorney charges to prepare documents, but also don't be afraid to pay more than what you have in your mind it's going to cost. Because if the attorney's right and their approach is solid and you have a trust level with them, it's worth their weight in gold to do that. The fifth reason or emotional reason people put off or procrastinate planning are family ties. Do you have a child who's drug addicted? Do you have a child who has a divorce looming? Do you have a child who is, or a beneficiary who is bad with money? These are the things that slow people down from doing planning, because in some ways they think these things are going to resolve, or they feel that there's no way to handle that within their estate plan. Or do you have a blended family and there's a tough stepchild who is going to be unhappy with whatever you do? You may not know it, but these sort of things stop you from actually putting a plan in place. And so you think that by putting it off, maybe things will resolve themselves. But in fact, by putting it off, you aren't addressing the things that need to be addressed, and you're probably causing a bigger problem. And you can take confidence in the fact that putting your plan together with those factors happening in your family will actually support those children. It will give your trustee and the other remaining children and your spouse some ground rules, some guidelines to follow if you were to become incapacitated or die. So a plan is always better than no plan in those circumstances. In fact, you could probably harm a child who is drug addicted or facing financial difficulties by not doing a plan and getting assets out to them outright, because that's ultimately what would happen if you don't plan for those issues and those emotional issues you're having. So in the category of family ties, it's going to cost you more not to plan, and it's going to impact your family in a negative way, even though that's counterintuitive in your mind. because in your plan, you can really be supportive and loving to those children you have concerns about. And not only that, you can be honest and clear. And so there won't be confusion and fighting. All right, so those are the 5 emotional blocks to putting a plan together. Hopefully we've removed them, and thank you for listening.